could the Republicans negotiate like every bill that's ever passed? Yeah, of course they can negotiate. But they're like, Democrats, we don't want to give them anything, ever. Well, okay, then you're not gonna get the votes. That's how it works. So I don't know why you're feigning outrage over that. I know why, because both sides are gonna do their talking points, but it's total BS.
Donald Trump is at record levels of unpopularity in his tenure. The Republican House is at record levels of unpopularity. They are underwater across the board, and they know it. And that is causing them to double down in public, but it is backfiring. That is why, whether it's a shutdown, whether it's all of this, they want us to blink first. And we have too much to save.
The United States government has officially shut down, and Democratic Party leadership is vowing to keep it that way until Republicans give them what they want. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump is promising mass federal layoffs while he posts AI videos of House Minority Leader Jeffries in a sombrero, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But first, how did we get here? Republicans in the House of Representatives were able to pass a bill to keep the government funded, but Republicans in the Senate have not been able to get 60 votes to pass that bill. While some Democrats did vote with Republicans, most are vowing not to vote for any government funding bill unless Republicans agree to extend healthcare subsidies, which are on the brink of vanishing. Per the New York Times, most Americans enrolled in a plan under the Affordable Care Act have benefited from federal tax credits that were expanded in 2021. But those subsidies are set to expire at the end of this year. And if they do, over 20 million Americans will be facing higher insurance premiums. Kaiser Family Foundation has estimated that Americans' share of premiums could increase by an average of more than 75%. About 2 million people are expected to lose their coverage next year if the extra funding expires, according to estimates from the Congressional Budget Office. Health insurers are anticipating that young and healthy customers will drop their insurance plans, while those facing medical problems will stay enrolled. According to analysis by KFF of company filings, insurers are increasing premiums by around 4 percentage points on average to account for a sicker group of customers next year. They are also raising prices because of increasing medical costs. A small number of Republican lawmakers have stated they are open to keeping these subsidies funded, but Republican leadership has pushed back. This morning, Vice President JD Vance spoke to CBS Mornings, and he insisted that this fight isn't about healthcare subsidies for Americans, but it's actually about healthcare for illegal immigrants. Take a look.
Those subsidies, while many of them are important, Tony, they don't expire until next year. So the idea that you have to shut down the government in early October over subsidies that don't expire for many months is preposterous. Nobody buys it, not even many Senate Democrats who, of course, voted with us last night to reopen the government. The second point I want to make is if you look at the Democrats' initial demands, the reason why this process really fell off the ramps from the very beginning, they came to us saying that they wanted to give massive amount of taxpayer benefits to illegal aliens. That's ridiculous. And you're certainly not going to shut down the government because we refuse to give taxpayer funded health care to illegal aliens. But that is the situation that we now find ourselves in.
Now, Vance got some pushback on the claims in that clip. Let's watch.
On the Affordable Care Act subsidies, people do need to make decisions now. The renewal notices go out on November 1st, so now's the time to think about whether you can afford health care going forward. Two, on this notion that Democrats want to give a bunch of taxpayer dollars to illegal aliens, is that a reference to health care? Because when I look at it, illegal aliens are not currently eligible for the Affordable Care Act as is. So what are you referring to there?
Yeah, so I appreciate the opportunity to explain that, Tony. There's a lot of crosstalk here. So here's what I mean. If you go back to the Biden era, they did two separate things. First of all, they encouraged illegal aliens and funded illegal aliens to go to American hospitals for healthcare. That was number one. Number two, they gave a massive, what's called parole. They effectively waved an amnesty wand and gave healthcare benefits to millions of illegal aliens who were in the country without documentation, without proper authorization. We undid both of those Biden-era programs to cut off that healthcare funding to illegal aliens. The Democrats want to reinstitute those policies.
Now, Democrats have repeatedly insisted they are not trying to give undocumented people health care. Republicans, however, insist otherwise. Here's Stephen Miller. Democrats shut down the government to demand free health care for illegals. So who's telling the truth? To find out, we dove into the text of these bills themselves, and we're going to tell you exactly what's inside. The Senate Democrats' proposal to keep the government funded would repeal a section of Trump's quote unquote one big beautiful bill. That section is called Subtitle B of Title VII. Of course, you all know and love that part. Inside of that section is an even smaller provision titled Alien Medicaid Eligibility, which reads in part, in no event shall payment be made to a state under this section for medical assistance furnished to an individual unless such individual is a resident of one of the 50 states, the District of Columbia, or a territory of the United States. And B, either a citizen or national of the United States, an alien lawfully admitted for permanent residence, an alien who's been granted the status of Cuban or Haitian entrant, or an individual who lawfully resides in the United States in accordance with a compact of free association. And to clarify, compacts of free association have to do with 3 Pacific Island sovereign states in particular. The Alien Medicaid Eligibility provision did exclude certain groups from receiving federal health care benefits, including refugees, asylees, parolees, and abused spouses and children. Republicans are claiming that Democrats wanted to make Americans pay for undocumented immigrants' healthcare because their provision would have repealed the Alien Medicaid Eligibility provision. But undocumented immigrants are already unable to receive federal medical insurance in theory. Some states like California use state money to offer insurance plans for undocumented people. But last year, California got busted because they spent federal money on health insurance for residents with unsatisfactory legal status. It seems that the Alien Medicaid Eligibility provision of the one big beautiful bill was intended to clarify that states cannot spend federal money on healthcare for undocumented immigrants. It also revoked certain groups' eligibility for federal healthcare benefits, as we mentioned. And although the Democrats' proposal would have repealed that provision, it would not have suddenly made undocumented immigrants eligible for federal healthcare. Cenk, it seems a little wonky, a little complex, but when you boil it down, surprise, surprise, the Republicans might be misleading American people here. What do you think?
I'm shocked to find out gambling in this establishment. Okay, so look, I'm gonna tell you how it breaks down in terms of whose fault it is. But first, something that I hope we can all agree on. As soon as the government shut down last night, what wound up happening is that federal workers stopped getting paid. So they still have to work, a lot of them, like air traffic controllers, etc., but they just won't get paid for the work. They do get the money back later if and when the government reopens. I assume it's gonna reopen at some point, but meanwhile, they can't pay the bills, right? But there is one exception. Congress, I'm sorry, overall, the exception category is politicians. So it has a couple of branches, Congress, the White House. So Trump will keep getting paid. All the incompetent politicians who brought us to the shutdown will keep getting paid because, pain and suffering, that's for the masses. But the elites never suffer, even though they're the ones making these decisions. So I can guarantee you that if you polled, should they stop getting paid as well, we might actually get 100% on a poll for the first time ever. Although the Congress people are like, no, keep paying us, pay double. Well, you're not even working. You're the ones who shut down the government. No, we're the elites. Okay, I got it, dude. We all hate you. Okay, so now let's move on to the hard part of who's at fault here. This one's a little bit more complicated than usual. Why? So normally the Republicans come in and go, okay, we're shutting the government down, we don't care, and we don't care if nobody gets paid, blah, blah, blah. And usually by the end, people realize that it's the Republicans who were shutting down the government, right? So in this case, they do need Democratic votes. So normally what happens when you need the other party's votes for anything, including in filibuster situations, you can do one of two things. You can use the Democratic approach, which is immediate surrender. They're like, oh, paid family leave polls at 84%. Oh, a couple of Republicans objected, we surrender, right? Or, and that's what the Republicans are demanding now of the Democrats. No, we want unilateral surrender. We want you to get nothing in this negotiation, and we want you to give us your votes anyway on a continuing resolution to keep the government going. And the Republicans say, well, look, this is not about passing bills. We already just passed a giant tax cut for the rich and corporations. I mean the big beautiful bill, right? So it's not fair for the Democrats to not vote with us to continue the government. What do you mean not fair? What does that mean? So no, when you're trying to pass anything, there is a negotiation. So could the Democrats say, okay, you know what, let's just continue until November 21st as the Republicans want, and it's okay if we don't get anything, at least the government doesn't shut down. Yeah, they could do that. So if you wanna give them a little bit of blame for not doing that, okay, all right. Now, on the other end, could the Republicans negotiate like every bill that's ever passed? Yeah, of course they could negotiate. But they're like, Democrats, we don't want to give them anything, ever, ever, ever. Well, okay, then you're not gonna get the votes. That's how it works. So I don't know why you're feigning outrage over that. I know why, because both sides are gonna do their talking points, but it's total BS. Get to like when you're in politics, Politics 101 is, at the end of the day, you have to pass budgets, bills, etc. You get together, you negotiate, and you come up with a compromise. But the Republicans are at this point never, ever, ever want to compromise. My way or the highway. Well, okay, then we got the highway. So why don't you stop crying about it or get to the goddamn negotiating table? All right, so and you cannot argue with that. Now, okay, now let's get to the specific of what the Democrats want. What do they want to negotiate over? So Jordan told you, healthcare is a critical one. So 2 million people are gonna lose those benefits, a perfectly good thing to negotiate on. It gets a little wonky and then the Republicans throw in the monkey wrench of the undocumented immigrants, which I'll explain in a second. But overall, it looks like Democrats are standing up for people to get healthcare, and the Republicans are like, no. Okay, then my favorite part though is JD Vance's disingenuous reaction there. I mean, this isn't gonna run out till the end of the year. Why don't we just continue the government out? That's because the Democrats have like a smidge of leverage, and shockingly, they've decided to use it for the American people. That's a good thing, right? And so they're like, you think that if the Democrats are like, oh yeah, let's not negotiate over that, it's okay, it's not gonna run out till the end of the year, and we'll just give the Republicans what they want, that when they then say, okay, now we'd like to introduce a bill to make sure that those people don't lose their health care, that the Republicans will be like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, of course, introduce anything you like, we'll vote on it. And you know what, maybe we'll vote with you. No, they're not even gonna let the Democrats introduce that legislation. So JD Vance, are you gonna let the Democrats introduce legislation and vote, and you're making it seem like, oh, it's no big deal. Isn't every single Republican going to vote no on extending the health care for those 2 million Americans? And you know they are. Maybe you'll get one or two, but overall, they're like, oh, Americans, they're not even donors. Yeah, they're not even a foreign government. Yeah, no. So now look, the Democrats, I saw Hakeem Jeffries last night on CNN because Anna was on, and so I'm like, all right, I'll bear through this. And God, they're so bad at messaging. They get right into the weeds and they lose everyone. They speak like professors. Bro, just be like, hey, 2 million Americans, we're giving them health care, and the Republicans are saying, hell no, we'll shut the government down before we give Americans health care, okay? But they're not even rich. They don't even give us money. They're not even corporations, right? They're not even Israel, right? Now that would be a strong way of saying it. Okay, all right. Last thing is on undocumented immigrants for now. So is it true that the states pay, if they want to pay for undocumented immigrants, the federal government doesn't, so the states have to do it themselves? Yes. Is it true though that sometimes, like California, will overcharge the federal government, and then when they do an audit, for example, last year, they found out that California had overcharged by about 50 million or so, and so they said, no, according to the law, and you have to follow the law, California has to pay for this, not the federal government. Wait a minute, who's president last year? I mean, Trump caught him, right? Oh, right, that was Biden. So the Democrats caught themselves overcharging because Democrats are in California, and they said, you're not allowed to do that because there's a law that says you're not allowed to do that. And they got California to pay the money back. So California shouldn't have done it in the first place, but apparently there's a process in place that even Democrats use to make sure that the money does not go to undocumented immigrants. Problem solved.
Yeah, I think you're right. They need to simplify the messaging, really hammer home how this impacts everyday people. These subsidies are a vital lifeline. Healthcare is already too expensive. Despite its name, the Affordable Care Act, the marketplace plans that come from that are typically not affordable for people. So these subsidies help. It doesn't fix the problem. I would argue a much better, all-encompassing universal healthcare system is the way to go. So people don't have to worry about whether or not they can afford healthcare the next year, starting in October. So I'm glad to see one mainstream media outlet push back on JD Vance on that point. But now that we've explained the substance of the issue, we should discuss whether the shutdown is politically advantageous for Democrats or Republicans. Democratic leadership is likely choosing to take a stand because their voters think the party is weak. Take a look.
Democrats on who has strong leaders. Look at this, 54% say neither party, 54% of Democrats say neither party has strong leaders. Among Republicans, 80% of their base thinks Republicans have strong leaders. Yet among Democrats, just get this, just 35% of Democrats say their party has strong leaders. Take a look here. Okay, Democrats and who get things done. Again, it's just 50, we get this 50% of Democrats say neither party gets anything done. Just 41% of Democrats say their own party gets stuff done. Well, this is, I think, the real pressure facing Democrats at this particular point. Democrats who think their parties need major changes or more. Look at this, 57% of Democrats say their party needs major changes or more compared to just 43% who say minor or no changes. Again, very different than the Republican Party, where 21% of Republicans, only 21% say their party needs major changes or more.
Now, the Washington Post editorial board is warning Democrats that they won't win this fight. President Donald Trump and his budget director, Russell Vought, now have extraordinary authority to choose which agencies to close, what spending to prioritize, and even which government workers to lay off. As Trump warned on Tuesday, we can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible. The public has proved to be unsupportive of lawmakers who create unnecessary crises to extract political concessions. The most likely outcome is that Democrats will come to regret having just walked into a trap. And speaking of Russ Vought, he's already made two big announcements today. Roughly $18 billion in New York City infrastructure projects have been put on hold to ensure funding is not flowing based on unconstitutional DEI principles. More info to come soon. And then elsewhere, nearly $8 billion in green new scam funding to fuel the left's climate agenda is being canceled. Again, promising more to come, but the projects are in the following states: California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, the list goes on, but it's many, many states. And according to Politico, OMB Chief Russell Vought told House Republicans on a private call Wednesday that the administration will start mass reduction in force moves or firings of federal workers in a day or two, according to 4 people granted anonymity to describe the call. Now, time will tell what else Vought decides to do, but in the meantime, here's what's still moving, as well as what's grinding to a halt. Today, the CDC announced that mission-critical activities at HHS will continue. TSA workers and air traffic controllers are still working, even if they're not being paid. USPS will keep mail moving as per usual. Social Security will continue, but safety net programs like SNAP and WIC could run out of funds. Federal workers and active duty military members will not get paid, and FEMA is still running, but its funds are growing sparse. Now, Cenk, how do you feel about this idea and this concept, this opinion pushed by the Washington Post editorial board that this is a losing battle for Democrats?
They always say the Democrats are gonna lose. To be fair to them, the Democrats are so bad they usually do lose, right? But like going into these battles, mainstream media is always like, oh, the Democrats are very wrong, very wrong. It's the Democrats. They love to pick the Republican side. Why? Because they're giant corporations. And so the Republicans represent corporations tiny bit more than the Democrats do. So no, Jordan, it's super clear who's going to win this showdown. Even though I can't tell you if it's Democrats or Republicans, but when I tell you how you're going to know, you're going to get worried. The stronger side wins. The side with better messaging wins. Because you have to be out there from today to the day that it gets resolved, out all over media, TV, podcast, every kind of media you can imagine out there going, we're for the healthcare, they're against the American people, against the American people. Why did you steal their healthcare from them, etc. Right? And then you would break the Republicans, the old days. Now, the Republican politicians are the ones you should target because that makes sense in this case, right? But will the Democrats do that? They'll probably go, well, according to clause 37 BC, we are. So, I mean, like as I tell you who's, what the victory is gonna be based on, I'm super worried because the Democrats are the absolute worst in getting the message out of any party I have ever seen in any country in my lifetime, okay? So now, and look at the framing though of mainstream media. To be fair, they also have mainstream media against them. Now, like normally on social issues, mainstream media is on the Democrat side, right? But on economic issues, they're totally against Democrats, even though the Democrats are usually faking it. But anyways, so in this case, they say, oh, well, I've seen tons of reports like this now. Oh, the Democrats and Chuck Schumer are only doing this to appease their base, because their base wants them to fight the Republicans. What does that mean? Are they not supposed to listen to their voters? Like they're literally chiding them for the first time ever listening to their voters. Like, oh, the Democrats, how dare they listen to their voters? They're just being driven to try to protect healthcare for Americans because of their voters, right? Yeah, what's wrong with that? Is that what you want? No, because mainstream media hates the voters and never wants you to represent them. And so, okay, now how do I know that the Republicans in this case are not full of crap? Like, so they're enthusiastically going, oh, now we're gonna get to fire the federal workers. During Doge, we fired people. Now we're gonna fire more Americans. We love to fire people, and that makes sense. Donald Trump's catchphrase was, you're fired, right? So if you're an average American, you're working for the government or something else, they love firing you, right? Why don't they fire any of the subsidies? I mean, we could save a lot of money if we stop giving $35 billion to oil companies. That's money out of our pocket. Why don't we stop that? No. Can we stop funding Israel's genocide? How dare you, anti-Semite? No, we fund Israel no matter what, okay? We fund oil companies and drug companies no matter what. The Americans fired, you're fired. My donors wanted you fired, okay? So Republicans, you mean anything? Look, again, politicians and voters are very different. The voters have been misled for a long time on both sides. So I know Republican voters don't want to give those subsidies. There might be a couple randos that still are 68 or 98 and they'll watch Fox News and they're like, oh, Sean Hannity told me that corporate rule is awesome. Please take my money, giant corporations who make billions of dollars. Right? But the politicians, oh my God, monumentally full of crap. That's the Republicans. Now turn to the Democrats. Now what do we tell you? We told you for 20 straight years here, guys, the Democrats never fight. They never fight for you. And we were the heretics and we were the bad guys. Oh, you're hurting the Democratic Party. You're letting everyone know we never do anything. Shh. Well, too late, word's out. Look at those results. Everybody thinks you Democratic voters, forget Republicans and independents. Democratic voters, your own voters, think you are weak and totally ineffective. They caught you. Everybody's getting caught now. Mainstream media kept everything bottled up forever and ever and ever. They never let the truth out while pretending to be objective. Now, because of online media, they can't contain things. They're like, no, don't tell anyone we gave Israel $300 billion. Oh, God damn it, now they know. Don't say Ghislaine Maxwell's dad was an Israeli spy who stole our nuclear secrets. Oh, God damn it, now they know, right? Don't say we give the subsidies to all the corporations and screw over the average. Oh, no, they know. And one of the things that happened is the Democrats got caught. You guys suck, the politicians, and you never fight for us. And now you have a smidge of a fight. And so, okay, great. And of course, and they're like, oh, mainstream media is yelling at us. Who cares? You should go on their shows and yell at them. Yell at them, okay? But no. Let's be civil, let's be civil. So you want major changes in the Democratic Party? RebellionPAC.com. Not only do we have 3 candidates now, I've been talking to a lot of folks, some good populists out there like I've never seen before. Before you talk to Democratic candidates, they're all so careful and they'd be told by the consultants, it'd be in this tiny little box. Now I'm talking to guys, including one today, where they're actually regular people. And they're like, oh, we're tired of this crap. And that's it. We want to take over the Democratic Party and have them actually do things. Like, yes. So there is a way, rebellionpac.com. But Jordan, who are Schumer and Jeffries going to fold? I mean, probably.
I don't know. I mean, my takeaway in this part is how the media continues to mislead people and has them focus on the wrong things. So this idea that Democrats are going to lose this battle when they're the ones, like you pointed out earlier, surprisingly, at least in this moment, fighting for people who need healthcare. And again, we know the inadequacies of the Affordable Care Act. And then Harry Anton with that poll talking about how Democrats don't have faith in their party and they don't see them doing the right things. Thankfully, there's Rebellion PAC, but I think the problem is much bigger than that, and it's not just a partisan problem. Pew Research did a poll a couple weeks ago that found that 76% of US adults want at least major reforms to our political system. This is both parties and independents. And that, some of that includes people who want a complete overhaul. And the media doesn't want to talk about that. They'll just say, well, no, who's going to win this little battle? Who's going to win this fund? We're having a funding, we can't keep the government open. Like, I feel like CNN focusing on which party is wrong misses the forest for the trees. We have a completely dysfunctional system. We have a system that gives too much power to one person or a handful of people. We have a corrupt Supreme Court with no ethics. We have a president who wants to be an authoritarian. You have party leadership in Congress who is going to sit on their hands on one side and enable him on the other. He's in the White House meeting with Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer yesterday, and they hand them Trump 2028 hats. A flagrant violation of the Constitution, and everyone in the room laughs. Like, what are we doing here? Who cares whether or not the party is strong enough? The entire system is broken. Throw it out and replace it. I don't know. I feel like CNN and Washington Post, all of these establishment outlets are just continuing to enable this dysfunctional system that is ruining the lives of millions of Americans.
Yeah, my last quick thought on that. If Trump came in and you started giving me Trump 2028 hats and the cameras are rolling, I mean, that's a gift from the gods. If I was Hakeem or Chuck, I would be like, why? Are you planning to violate the Constitution, run for a 3rd term? That's why people thought you're authoritarian. Do you know that? Do you understand that? Do you understand that you can't run for 3 terms? I just want to be clear because you seem to not understand fundamental parts of the Constitution. Have you ever read the Constitution? They're like, oh, well, you can't say that to Trump. Trump's feelings have been hurt. Good. Are you crying? There is no Trump 2028. And then I take the hat and I throw it. I throw it on the ground. Oh no, you hurt Trump's feelings. Yeah, goddamn right I did. Yeah, look, Democrats couldn't begin. These current Democratic leaders couldn't begin to fight. They don't know how. They've never heard of it. They're like, they're winging it on the spot. They're like, oh, there's a hat. I don't know what to do with it. Okay, I've been told that my voters want us to fight. Okay, all right, we'll ask for this little thing. Look, I'd ask for a lot more, and but that's for a different day. So overall, no, don't lose focus on this issue. The Democrats are right in trying to preserve healthcare for 2 million Americans. The Republican idea that you're never supposed to negotiate and you just get whatever your side wants and you ignore the other side is not how Congress works, period.
Yeah. One final thing, now the government is shut down. People are pointing fingers. So what is the president doing in this moment? What is the president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world? What's he doing? He's posting things like this.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
It's a disgusting video, and we're going to continue to make clear bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault.
I have no words. Cenk, what do you make of this?
Like, look, they're not unfunny, okay, even though it's terrible, right? But I wouldn't go at him with, oh, it's racist and it's bigoted. Is it? Of course. Why does he have a sombrero on? He's not Latino. What is that, right? So it's nonsensical, right? But I would just tell him, oh, I didn't know the president of the United States was a child. Are we doing trolling? Are we doing sketches? Do I have to respond to him in a sketch? Okay, and then do I have to put a fez on him and go, oh, he's from a different ethnicity? Like, just make fun of him because he's a child. He's the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, commander in chief. And he's like, oh, I found a funny sombrero video of Hakeem Jeffries. I'm gonna repost that. You child, do your job.